Some are hard workers. Some have great personalities. Some make money. Some are great lovers. But J.W. is none of these. He is a great philosopher. And his philosophy is this, that if anything worth doing, anything is worth doing, and it's probably already been done. Talking about change, notice J.W. when he stands up on Sunday morning, he has expanded in the north part of his and he's also expanded a little bit east and west below the waistline. Well, Paul wrote in 1 Corinthians 3:16, know ye not that ye are the temple of God? But I cannot find anywhere in the scripture where it says that we have to add wings to that temple. You know, some people have the idea that being married to a preacher is all peaches and cream. But it's not. It's not. J.W. Willene was at home one evening. Willene was looking at a magazine of Steam Mail, and she noticed a sheet in there that was to be filled out, and it was called a compatibility test. So they sat down and filled out this test, and she was scored. And J.W. said, well, what is the score? And Willene said, according to this, I should be serving a life sentence for her. You know, you read in the scripture and you become aware of several things. Everybody is not humble, and the Lord gives them something to make them humble. Jacob, he gave 4 wives. That'll make any man humble. He gave Peter a mother-in-law. Now that has a great deal to do with some folks. No reflection on you. And he gave Paul a pain in the side, thorn in the side, as if you want to call it, to keep him humble. And he has also given J.W. wine to keep him humble. He gave him a lady named Louise. And of course, you folks don't know that, but the people here know that Louise keeps him humble. Yeah. Willene said, as long as I'm married to J.W., I will never be miserable alone. Isn't that sweet? It's real touching.
I don't have much to say at all about J.W. because I can't go way back in his past like some of the rest of you can. I was not privileged to know him back when. It's only been recently. So I had to scratch around and find some things from other people that had happened to him in the past. One thing that we've all assumed tonight is that J.W. was surprised that we remembered his birthday, that Willene did, and that we're all here congratulating him on his 50th. We were talking at the table about the fact that now he'll be eligible for AARP, and he immediately jumped on that and said, I'm going to get it right away. So I look forward to seeing him at some of our functions. But one of the things that J.W. has done and been very quiet about it is that he has just really sloughed off this 50th birthday. You know, he didn't act like at all that he even had changed one bit. But I heard that the other morning, J.W. was sitting on the side of the bed, leaning over, tying his shoe. And he suddenly called out, Willene, come here! And she did. Is there anything else I'm supposed to do while I'm down here? That's just the first thing that goes. Also, now I'm not sure whether this is true.
I know.
But I heard that in one of his first passports, could have been here in Georgia, it could have been someplace else. But J.W. was fresh out of the box. I mean, school was behind him, and he was full of vim and vigor and vinegar and vitality and whatever else you could say. So he was about to baptize his first adult convert. Now, contrary to what many people, church members, think, is we don't go to the seminary to learn how to baptize. I've been doing it a long time, and I've never really had a comfortable baptism where I was not a little bit afraid that I might do something that would cause the young people in the audience to laugh a little bit. But J.W. was baptizing this lady, and she was a woman who had missed the pleasures of being married. She had reached midlife, and she just never gotten married. And when he started to baptize her, she had not told him that she was afraid of water. There wasn't much he could have done about it except sprinkle it, but that's still what he faced. And when he walked down in the pool and was trying to be so dignified, he's always dignified, I'm sure, in the pool. And he walked down in the pool and he looked out at the congregation and said the words that he was going to say. And then he reached up with his hand to let her walk down the steps. And when she started down the steps, she got down to the bottom step and saw the water. She was all right, kind of like Peter when he walked on the water. She was fine until she saw the waves. And when she did, she jumped into his arms. Now this was before the congregation. She jumped in his arms and grabbed him around the neck and said, "Woo!" And J.W. said, "Please, please." And she said, "Woo!" Then she wanted to be sure that he was not going to put her under the water, so she got her legs around his middle. And J.W. said, "Please, this is embarrassing, please." Woo! The congregation heard the prayer. And it wasn't a benediction, it was, "Lord, please help me out of this." So instead of baptizing her in a normal way, J.W. just sat down and baptized the both of them. But that's not the end of the story. The next day, Monday morning, this little town, wherever it was, and I think I know where it was in North Georgia, this little town had one bank. And the banker in that bank, the president of the bank, was one of J.W.'s deacons. And he was a man that was known for not smiling, ever. Never being happy, never laughing, never slapping the pastor on the back and saying, "Wonderful sermon, Pastor. I enjoyed that." And so that morning, J.W. decided to go to the bank and cash his check for deposit. And he did. And when he walked in the door, every machine in the bank, all of the banking machines that the girls used back then, stopped. It was dead silence, not a typewriter click, not a sound, no voices were heard. Everybody stopped and looked at J.W. when he walked in the door. This deacon was behind his desk in the little cubicle back there where his office was. He got up and he came outside. And when J.W. walked up, he said only one word. Happy feet.
I know you're all tired and want to go home, but for 58 years I've read music in this church, and over 10 years ago they hired me to come to work for me. Well, I kept him pretty well in line for 10 years. And I've noticed in the last 6 months since I've been retired, everything's gone pop. Well, then you're going to have to get the church to call me back to get him in line again. That's all I know. He's still my chief. He's still my chief.
How can I? Come on, Liz.
Come on.
Well, I guess there's one story of Dad and I that I guess I was too young to really remember. One time, Dad and Jeffrey were out playing ball, football ball or something, and I think I learned this from you anyway. We were out playing ball, and I really wanted to play, and but Dad wouldn't let me, of course, because his oldest son was learning how to play baseball and cultivating his athletic prowess. But I wanted to play.
The rubbish is not on me.
I wanted to play, and so I kept tugging on Dad's leg. Dad, I want to play. And he just kind of, brushed me aside, just get behind me or whatever. So finally I grabbed him, I pulled him down close to me, and I said, Dad, you don't give me the bat, I'm going to beat the hell out of you. Now, I guess I learned that around the house. But, so of course, whenever people ask me, what did you do? He gave me the bat, so. Well, they talked a little bit earlier about the auctions and how he got other people to go along with the auctions. Well, I grew up going to auctions. And being a pastor, the resurrection is a big part of why Dad's doing what he's doing. And he's carried that theme in so many different areas because he's tried to resurrect cars, relationships. And the one thing I remember specifically is trampolines. I think I remember there was a father-son outing on Saturday, and we got up about pretty early and headed out to the government auction that was in the area. And Jason and I were tagging along because we thought this was the bonding time, I guess. I don't know, we didn't know any better since we weren't, but we headed out and we had no really agenda in mind. And Dad, I think, we found that Dad really likes to go to these things just to go. And he usually gets himself in trouble by going. Well, all of a sudden there came available these, other than the wires and the tables and the hospital equipment that he bought, it was these trampolines, these 6 trampolines. And of course, Jason and I, we thought it'd be great to have a trampoline, so we were egging them on. Well, the next thing we know, they started the bidding process, and before we knew it, and I think before Dad ever realized it, and before he understood, he had bought 6 of them. and he was trying to get away, but he'd come out of this deal okay. He looked at the scheme that he was going to sell off these five of these trampolines to pay for the one, and he would come out, looking good. He got his trampoline for free, by unloading on these making money. Well, it didn't quite work. We had 6 trampolines in the house for about a couple of months, and I think he ended up giving them away this year. So we finally, after that catastrophe, we finally got rid of them. But and a couple of other things that I was always faced with growing up is while I was in high school, I played basketball when I went to school, and I always kind of got a funny look during the games because about halfway through the game, the referee would come over to my coach to figure out who the guy, the crazy man up in the stadium. And invariably, the coach would not want any of the responsibility on him, so he told me it was me, it was my father. And of course, unfortunately, after that, I didn't get too many good calls from that point on. And mother would, we'd always know where he was because there was a big open area around it because no one would sit with him in the area or be close to him during that time. And it was no doubt throughout every game I played, there was only one voice I could hear in the whole stadium, and that was his. And well, I think only one voice anyone could hear in the stadium. So that was some of the memories that I had. Happy birthday, Dad.
All right, anybody else? Now's your chance.
Willene, the only thing I'd like to say is, I like to say that they was talking about when you went past Christiane, when y'all left that morning, we had to push you up the hill to get you started.
I've got a couple of things. I think Bobby might have been one of them. Several years ago, we had a convention in Albany. Said I guess if I wanted to drive down with him, sure, I'll go with you. So I took the time off of work. Reuben Kinsey, one of our deacons, then said, I don't want JW going down there in that little pickup truck. Save my car. So we went over and got Reuben's new Cadillac. Drove it down to the convention. First day of the convention, we were just riding around in the parking lot. JW was going out with his new staff car.
Blowing my horn, everybody else.
Blowing the horn, all the preachers in his new staff car. Sue came home about a year ago when they started planning this and told me you were going to have your 50th birthday. And I said, it's not a local. So that man, he's been a carpenter, he's restored cars, he's been a counselor, he's been an investment counselor, he's taken flying lessons, he's been into auctions. There's no way a 50-year-old man can die. He's got a big legacy. But it's been great having you.
Anybody else? My turn. Y'all talking about Jody being this fashion person that I'm thinking about his leisure suits. You know, Joe, if he could find a leisure suit, he would. Style and style. On our first date, they called me on there and said, your date's here. And then got into the phone and said, what is he wearing? Went down there and had a black wool sports coat on, a plaid shirt, the coat was black, but the plaid didn't have any black in it, and it was buttoned off on the neck with no tie. And then he had a plaid pair of pants on that was completely different from the plaid on the shirt. And he thought he was his style, so he's not really working that big. Not working. So he's always been not real conscious about style. That's just not really his thing.
He's got some smooth shoes now.
That's a matter of opinion. Not a matter of style, just a matter of opinion. And he got some new jogging shoes last night, and he said, I don't need these, I've got some new down at church. I said, those that have no tread left on them, that you painted in? So, he just doesn't realize things keep changing. But Judge had a lot to learn about the differences that, women were not weaker just because he thought we were. When we first got married, we've been married about a year, and I got what they call the red throat, and it was just real bad sore throat, and I even had to go to the doctor and get antibiotics. And so I took my antibiotics and started taking them and got better. And then he developed the red throat, and he decided he'd just doctor himself with my medicine. And he read the prescription, and it said, take one tablet 4 times a day. So he said, and he told me, he said, well, I think I'll take too tappy school time today. I'm a man. And 2 days later, he broke out, his ears started peeling and everything. That really happened. And one time when we were in Huntsville, he had enough nerve to preach a whole series of sermons on the Lord's Prayer. Now, at that time, Jody was not even memorizing at all. And so at the end, this is what it took about 6 sermons to preach this for 6 weeks, and he took a little part and preached the whole sermon on his little part of the Lord's Prayer. And then when the night he finished, he said, now let's all get up and I will lead you in the Lord's Prayer. And I looked at him like this, because Jody just didn't do that. And sure enough, he said, our Lord, and he couldn't even begin.
I just couldn't find a way to begin.
Everybody had been talking about Jody and his cars, and that's been something we had to continue with through all of our married life. When we were buying, we had a Model A, and he finally got it running, but then it would quit running. And so one night, he had me out, and I don't know how many people rode by our house while we lived in California too. And I was in our car pulling the A model around, and we had a pretty big yard, and we went round and round the yard. And people thought, what is happening? Here's Willene pulling Jody in the A model. But, you know, it never did crank, but that's what we were doing all the time. Thrills. But one of the things that is real important to know about Jody is that he tries to do things in a way that won't get him in a big fix, but you know, it always backfires on him. And we had just moved in our house 11 years ago, and we had a swimming pool. We didn't know how to take care of it. So we just waited and waited, and we were in Bible in October and everything, and just one thing after another, and we didn't get that thing closed till about the last day of October. But you know, cold weather had set in by then. So we had a leak in the pool too, and he had to catch that leak and find the leak before he could close the pool. And our neighbor was just insisting, you've got to find that leak. You can't close it and find the leak. So he decided he'd have to do that when the water was cold. It was already at the end of October, and that water was cold. So Jody goes up to church and gets his baptismal waders, and gets in our swimming pool with his baptismal waders on to plug up the hole in the pool. And he finds the hole, but then when he bends down to catch the hole, he forgets all the water comes in on his waders, and he's down in the water continuing to get up. He wasn't going to get in the pool so he just had his own place. He was at home all by himself. He was stuck in the swimming pool. Couldn't even move those waders because they were full of water. So he just ripped right there and ran to the door. They guess the back door wasn't locked, so give it back door. But it's been quite an experience living with
I've always dreamed what my weight would be like. Now, I appreciate, I know you have lots of things that you'd rather be doing and could be doing. I really appreciate you very much. I know. But I do appreciate all of you being here. My church family and my folks I work with every day, my family and my life. And I don't know of anything that makes me happier than to get together on occasion to do something like this. It's a lot more fun than a lot of things that we could be doing. And I want you to know that you all mean so much to me. Y'all sort of remind me of the good that manure does, you know. Whenever you get a bunch of folks like you together, you know, you make a big stink, but you spread the folks out and make it do a lot of good. But thank you so very much. I can't think of anything that would have made my life any richer than being here with you tonight. I thank you for it.
Happy